Historic Preservation Commission regular meeting, Thursday, April 9th at 6 p.m. in our council chambers. Public participation is encouraged. The meetings are conducted in a hybrid model, providing both in-person attendance and virtual public comment via the Zoom link below. Virtual attendance is not required for public comment via Zoom. Instead, Zoom participants will utilize the hand raise function to indicate their desire to speak. The meeting is also live streamed on the city's website and on YouTube and on Spectrum Channel 10. So I'm going to call to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Chair McHatton.
Here.
Vice Chair Sims.
Here.
Commissioner Bisasha.
Here.
Commissioner Walker.
Here.
Commissioner Akins.
Here.
Commissioner Neeson. Here. Commissioner Moore.
Here.
All right, we're going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now, do we have an approval of the agenda? I know there's one change I would like to make. I would like to move the pedestrian barriers up to the first item that we discuss, if that's okay with everybody. Does anybody have a problem with that?
So actually, right before the public hearing item.
Right. So number 2. Number 3? Number 3. Is that okay with everyone?
So right, that would be number 3.
Okay, so please note that that is what we're going to do. And now, do we have an approval for the agenda?
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
McHatton. McHatton.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes.
Bisasha.
Yes.
Walker.
Yes.
Akins.
Yes.
Neeson. Yes. Moore.
Yes.
All right, and now we're on to our presentation for our annual Historic Preservation Award for Steve Adams. He wasn't able to make it through council, so we are now doing it here at our meeting. And Brian Akins is going to lead this. Commissioner Akins, thank you.
So I'm more comfortable here than I am in the other room. I've done it, I think, 11 times here and 1 there. So and it's always interesting because you're talking to the council, but I always feel rude with all of the folks behind me. So if you just understand that, please. So we're very happy to, as the chair said, Steve Adams was awarded by the city council in a previous meeting, but unable to grab the plaque, which I forgot. Usually I have the mayor deliver it to me, so next year. So happy to have Stephen here, and happy to give him this plaque. Let me read just a little bit. I read this in the council meeting, but biography. It was Commissioner Walker who nominated Stephen. So the bio is he grew up in a small Midwestern town where the local bandstand and 4th of July parade were beloved traditions. Sounds familiar. Nearing retirement, he found a kindred spirit in the community of Ojai, which reminded him of his hometown. Since 2008, Stephen has been photographing the Ojai 4th of July parade and documenting many of the city's festivals and events. As he got to know the community, he began volunteering his photography and video services to local nonprofit organizations that might not otherwise afford professional media coverage. Over the years, he has contributed work to the Ojai Art Center, Ojai Valley Museum, Ojai Women's Club, Help of Ojai, City of Ojai Women's Fund, Ventura County Fire Department, and Ojai Performing Arts Theater. His images have been regularly featured in the Ojai Valley News and other regional publications. In a lasting gift to the community, Stephen has bequeathed his photographic archive to the Ojai Valley Museum to help preserve the city's vibrant history for generations to come. So, big congratulations. And my other hat currently is president of the Ojai Valley Museum, so I'm very happy, but just one word of advice, don't rush it, okay? We're okay waiting, so. So, Stephen, if you and the mayor could come up here, I'd appreciate it. Okay, the mayor is, I'm gonna give this to.
How do you want us to be?
You're back to them, I'm not sure.
For the photographs.
There we go. We're
Okay.
gonna put you in the middle.
Okay.
Okay, there you go. I'll give this to the mayor. And to the mayor? We gotta do-
Well, here, we want to see it.
We do, we do.
Oh, and then everybody's coming up for, everybody should get in the shot. Right?
There we go. So, yes.
You want to be here?
We're gonna do it from the fireplace.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna
Chair
block the
said
fireplace,
fireplace.
but
There we go.
you got a lot more coming.
That's okay, it's the commission. It's good.
Okay, ready and nice.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the nomination.
Oh, nice to finally get this taken care of. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
All right, thank you very much. And now we're going to go on to our first item of business. It is the selection of the Historic Preservation Commission Chair and Vice Chair and expiration of terms. Do we have a staff report?
Yeah. So the commission elects its chairperson and vice chair from among its membership. You might want to do a tap tap so you can have,
Gavel, gavel.
so I'll start again. The commission elects its chairperson and vice chair from among its membership here. The officers are chosen for a period of 1 year, and the vote for the current chair and vice chair positions are currently overdue. The seats were voted in January of 2025. It's just a matter of fact, it's not an issue, but it is time to do that. The chair is responsible for presiding at the HPC meetings and representing the HPC at the City Council's first meeting of every month to give an update. And also, I guess they would be giving an update on activities as well as ceremonial and civic events, like this evening. That the other members that are receiving awards were done at the City Council meeting. The vice chair assumes chair's duties in their absence and shall succeed the chair if the chair vacates the position prior to their term being up. And then a new vice chair would be elected immediately after. So in your packets, well, actually previously you received the commission's handbook, and you should have the March 11th, 2025. What it states in the staff report is the September 2024, but I don't think that's the one that you have. I think you have the one from 2025, and if you don't, you can contact me and I'll get one for you. So, in addition to that election this evening, I want to also just mention that two of the members' positions are coming up. They're expiring in May, and that would be Commissioner Walker and Chair McCatton, and so I handed them both at the beginning of the meeting at their seats, they have an application to submit, and they can hand it to me at the end of the meeting, or they can get it to Weston Montgomery on their own. The members who have terms expiring will reapply for additional terms, and you'll do that by filling out that form. So now I'm going to turn it over to the commission, and you can vote for a chair and vice chair.
Okay, does anyone have any nominations for the chair position?
Yes, I would like to nominate our current chair, Ms. McHatton. She has done a very excellent job this year, and we have to keep going. We've accomplished a lot in the year, and to become chair, it takes time to get into the role, and 1 year really isn't enough. So I would like to see her continue as our chair.
So do we do a vote first, or do we wait until we have more nominations?
So
or-
you can have more nominations, but then you take a vote from the first down the line. So if the first one doesn't get the vote, then it goes to the second.
Got it. Do we have any more nominations?
So seeing none, do you want to take a vote then on Chair McHatton? Could you take a vote, please, Ida?
Sims,
Yes.
Basasha,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Akins,
Yes.
Neeson. Yes. Moore.
Yes.
So there you go.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then we'll take a nomination then for Vice Chair.
I'd like to
You're not on.
nominate Loran Sims. I'd like to nominate Loran Sims.
I'll
Do we-
second that.
Do we have any further nominations? Seeing none, Ida, would you take a vote?
McHatton,
Yes.
Basasha,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Akins,
Yes.
Neeson. Yes. Moore.
Yes.
All right.
Go.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay. And Craig and I will be making sure that we turn in everything we need to turn in and get reappointed, hopefully, so.
Oh,
Okay.
right, that would be interesting.
Okay, so now we are on the minutes from our March 12th meeting. Do we have any corrections, or do we have any changes? And do we have a motion?
Actually, before you get there, we have public communication and then museum rep.
I thought it was the minutes first, no?
I'm just looking at the agenda.
Okay. All right, so let's do public communications. It's a time set aside during the meeting for the members of the public to address the legislative body on items of city business other than that is scheduled items. Matters raised at this time may be briefly discussed by members of the legislative body and will generally be referred to staff and/or placed on a subsequent agenda. Under state law, other than for emergency items, no action will be taken. Do we have any public comment on items that are not on our agenda tonight? Anything online?
We do have a hand raised by Larry Stengold.
Larry?
Good evening. Good evening to all. Congratulations on being renominated as chairman, and you do all very substantial work regarding history in the city because it's the only thing we have. It would be nice to see a proposal to discuss the present frittata regarding the arcade so that this doesn't happen again. Maybe everything that occurs with the arcade should also be copied to the Historical Commission so that all these things can be dealt with without creating major problems and setting precedents that shouldn't be set. And I don't know if you have the ability to put items on your agenda unless they're controlled by city council or the administration. But you should have the ability to talk about it and discuss it and to see how and why it happened so that it doesn't happen again. I mean, that's all that it's about, because you can't unring the bell. Mr. Walker was very eloquent at the past 2 city council meetings, and he pretty much laid it out. Now they have to unwind it, but please put it on the agenda so that you can at least discuss what happened, why it happened, so that it doesn't happen again. So that you get copied on everything that pertains to any piece of property or activity within your purview. Because that's what your job is, and that's what you've taken on. So please continue the good work and just stick your nose under the tent and make it happen, because once the history's gone, it's never coming back. So keep it up and try to do better this time for that purpose.
Thank you.
Sorry. Good.
Okay, do we have anyone else?
Anyone else, Ida?
Not online.
All right, I'm going to close public communications. Now, should we go to the museum report?
Yes, thank you, Chair. We just had an exhibit that closed. I hope everyone was able to get it. It was women through the 100 years, early 100 years of the Ojai Valley. It was magnificent. We are bringing back another popular exhibit that we had before called Ojai Mystique, and this is where we invite artists, I think 47 well-known artists, if I remember correctly, and with the theme for it, and you can see that it talks about what Wendy sent me is it's a new landscape exhibition, Ojai Mystique. It opens next Friday with a reception that evening from 5 to 7 p.m., April 17th. So again, you may have gone to our first one. This is just as beautiful. I've been watching them hang the show throughout the week. Roger was just here for the presentation. So coming up, beautiful, wonderful landscapes. It's always fun to me to look at how the interpretation is presented in the artwork, and then go back and look at what it is in real life and how they've captured the essence of that landscape. So a beautiful exhibit. Again, opening on the 17th, reception 5 to 7 p.m.
So,
Thank you.
Brian, all the pictures are of Ojai, right? The landscapes of Ojai?
Of the Ojai Valley.
And they're all new paintings that people have done for this exhibit?
Exactly. Yes, thank you.
Great.
All right, thank you so much. Now we're back to our consent calendar on the minutes of the March 12th meeting. Does anyone have anything that they would like to discuss on those minutes or make a motion?
Chair,
Yes.
just one thing under item number 7, which is City Beautiful Award discussion. I think we're still doing minutes just a bit different. If we look at the last 2 lines, it says, after that, the time was turned over to Commissioner Akins to report, but the important one, Commissioner Walker reported to the commission his thoughts on the item. One of the things he asked was for us to come back and review what we plan to talk to the city council about. So you may see that in commissioner comments. I didn't know if I just wanted to point that out as an important thing.
Okay. Anything else? Would you like to make a motion?
I'll move approval.
Second?
I'll second.
All right, roll call, please.
McCann,
Yes.
Sims,
Yes.
Bistasha,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Akins,
Yes.
Neeson,
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Okay, now we are jumping, and we're going to,
Number 7.
I don't know if it's number 7, the pedestrian barriers.
Okay, thank you. So this project is an information item to the HPC, and it's regarding pedestrian barriers on the corners of East Ojai Avenue and North and South Signal Street. The item is informational as it falls within the Caltrans jurisdiction. The pedestrian barriers on these corners are being installed to address a safety concern for the city, while also meeting Caltrans safety requirements. As provided in the attachments that are in your packet, Planter pots are proposed with native plantings that would be maintained by the city. We do have the Public Works Director here attending this evening if there are any questions about this item that aren't provided to you in the packet or that you need clarification of. Just briefly, the planters are rounded. They're heavy, stable, concrete design, similar to the planters that are in the Arcade Plaza currently. They're approximately 17 inches tall with a diameter of approximately 24 inches. They are an alternative solution to the handrails per the Caltrans standards that are provided in the photos in your packet. And with that, if you have any questions, let me know, and otherwise we can direct the questions to our Public Works Director, Ms. Moore. Should we do our public? Yes, of course.
Public comment first. We have Bill Miley.
Hello. I know you're being asked how these flower barrels fit into the arcade guidelines. My comments are, how do they fit? How do the barrels fit into the city of Ojai? Bigger picture. The post office corner is especially iffy in my opinion, problem prone, and difficult with the several different elevations for Signal Street post office sidewalk surface. It is a curb-like section within its flat surface, illogical and non-intuitive. And it has a no-turn sign on red, not at the driver's vision elevation, but about 8 to 9 feet high on the pole. And then across the street where the pharmacy used to be, there's a sign. I have personally been behind people who make right turns on red signals because they don't see the sign. It's up here. The sign needs to be on here. Okay. There is no analytical write-up describing the problems pedestrians are having with the four corners. How many, what ages, what parts of the intersection, how far into the street do they walk, wander? What about cars, obstacles, electric bikes? Where's the report from Caltrans? Where's the report from the city? Since this is the responsibility of Caltrans, we need their report. And the city's proposed solution, rather than steel railings, which I find really ugly, is concrete decorative barrels to propose safety features which I don't know about. There are, I count 16 barrels, I think. I have discussed this with my friend Nick Ojai, local architect, and he's concerned about adding more objects to the walkways of each of the four corners, likely more confusion for some folks. A visual congestion also. He said, what's most important is having clear statements on the security issues and challenges that Caltrans is wanting to address. We don't know what they are. This section has existed for probably over 100 years, older than I am. And why now? The potential solution needs to be matched up with other guidance ideas, which will be intuitive and guidance oriented rather than some form of autocratic direction and control. Do that, do that, do that. Figure it out, be safe, okay. And I have a couple of more things. May I have another minute, please?
It's fine with me.
Nobody else? Okay. An engineering study needs to be done. We need to look at the aesthetics as it's proposed and how it fit into the guidelines. The Caltrans steel railings are really ugly. They work, but they're really ugly. The city manager, planner, flower pot idea are pretty. They need regular watering at a busy corner. My wife and I years ago used to have the city truck and we watered the trees years ago, including on Signal. We don't have a water truck anymore, I understand. In summary, please get Caltrans to do an energy engineering study, or at least report it. Think of the freeway barriers in Ventura at 101. They have blue waves on the carved concrete barriers. They have brick in the front that makes it look really pretty. And what did they do to the Ojai freeway? Okay. So we need to look at the issue of pedestrian safeway. And a comment about the flower pots. Maybe we should put artificial flowers there so they don't dry up and die. Because they're probably not going to be watered very well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions for the Public Works Director? Do you mind coming up? Thank you.
Happy to. Good evening, all.
Hello.
So I'm Lindy Palmer, the Public Works Director at the city.
I'm sorry, I called you more.
I know you did, but that's okay. We've known each other for a long
like
time.
30 years ago. Sorry.
I had a different name about 30 years ago.
Yeah,
She's
when we
reverting
met.
back to that.
Yeah, when you were 12.
Yeah. So Lindy Palmer, City of Ojai Public Works Director, and I know some of you I don't. But nice to meet you all tonight. I
So-
can answer any questions you may have.
Commissioner Walker?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions.
Sure.
Is this a city project, or is it you're getting an encroachment permit from Caltrans, or is it a Caltrans project? Because it says it falls under the jurisdiction of Caltrans, so we don't have anything to say about it. So I'm assuming that Caltrans is doing all the historic reviews and everything about how it might impact. And what struck me was the enormous amount of work they went into when they were just putting some crosswalks in. They did a whole review of the downtown. They came up with the downtown Ojai Historic District. It was a huge amount of work they did just to show that putting in those crosswalks wasn't going to impact a possible historic downtown, and they found out it was a historic downtown. They did find that those crosswalks didn't impact it. But so I'm just wondering, we're not able to review it historically, but I don't see anything in here where Caltrans reviewed it historically, and that seems kind of unusual to me.
So let me just go back a bit. So Caltrans recently paved the downtown area, as we know. We were all here. Beads were out there, with the sparkle at night. And so they did a lot of work, and we've gone through a couple of Public Works is what I'm talking about. We have gone through a couple of iterations with them on those 3 of the 4 corners, not the southwest corner in front of the movie theater, but the other 3. And they had proposed a rock blanket on each of those 3 corners, and I don't know if you know what that means, but you've got your radius, your corner radius, and you've got the ramp. So they wanted all 4 corners to be ADA compliant, as do we. So hence the new ramps that they installed. And then on the wings of those, the radius of the curb ramp, they had proposed rock blankets. So those are big boulders that sit right in front of, on either side of the ramp. So people are walking hand in hand down the sidewalk, and the lady's in heels or something, and she's walking along this rock blanket. You can only imagine what that would be. So we requested this, the Public Works Department requested that they pour a solid sidewalk, so there's no tripping. We're trying to mitigate the risk of trip and falls as much as we can, and also make it aesthetically appealing. So they scrapped this is all to say this has been in collaboration with Caltrans. So they scrapped the rock blanket project and laid sidewalk, just a solid concrete. Well, they continued on the project, and then now we have these curbs. And if you've walked downtown, you will see them. And to your point, to Bill's point on the study, there is no study necessary. We have all anecdotally seen people trip and fall. You're walking 2 wide or 3 wide down the sidewalk, so you're coming from South Signal and you're crossing over. You're in front of the post office, and then there's a curb right there at the sidewalk. So we brought this up to Caltrans' attention and have worked with them for about 6 months on this, on a solution that we could live with and that they could live with. So they came back to us with the solution, and you see that in your packet, those lovely rails. I'm like, that can't happen. And me and the mayor met down there, and I showed him the side-by-side pictures, and we're like, okay. So it was our proposal to put something there besides these industrial institution rails at our downtown area. So I've worked with community development, looked at the design standards for the arcade. I actually walked from Jim and Rob's all the way down to Peralta, back on both sides, and there is a wide variety of pots down there. I'm saying there's more than a dozen. There's more than one type in front of given businesses, so there's not a lot of uniformity. So I think it's important. I've lived here for many, many years, and I want the downtown to look nice. And so we have proposed, I mean, the theme from the design standard was let's go terracotta. Well, I have to also hit the design standards of Caltrans, and they said, no terracotta, we want concrete. Concrete's more durable, it lasts longer, we can get concrete in a terracotta color, and that's what we're doing. So we have worked very closely with Caltrans, worked community development, talked to city, the mayor, and this is the best design we have come up with. And Maura, I need to correct what's in your agenda report too. The design standards for Caltrans needed to be 24 to 36 inches tall. So the one we settled on is 33 inches tall. So it's 33 tall by 24 wide. So the pictures you have in your agenda are AI generated. I wanted you to have something visual to see. It may look slightly different, and we're also going to be pulling them back from the curb face because we don't want people turning the corner and getting a tire over the top and, crunching a planter. So that is what we came up with, and again, Caltrans is completely on board. I've worked with the safety team and the design team. So.
Well, that was one of my questions, because one of the drawings showed 17 inches and the other showed 33.
Correct. So the order that you see, I think it's the last sheet, which looks like an actual order. That's the dimension of the actual pot we're getting. In the staff report, so I had initially proposed that dimension, and Caltrans was like, nope, not big enough, because they don't want it 17 inches tall because it might become a bigger tripping hazard. So now it's almost 3 feet high, which is a lot different. It's harder to trip over. Nobody's got a 3-foot, gate. I mean, my horse does, but, So it's 33 inches, not 17.
I have a question.
Sure.
So we were meeting with our ad hoc that we have, the mayor and Councilwoman Meng, Craig Walker, and myself. And as we were walking in, the mayor asked me if you had contacted me yet about the planters. And we were talking, I had an email from you, and the three of us were gonna go down and talk about it. And the mayor asked, is this a good example of the ad hoc? What we're trying to do is get in the HPC early so we can have a public forum, so we can discuss something before it comes as informational. So when the trash cans were chosen, when the crosswalks were discussed, these were all things that came to us because it's a landmark arcade. So was the intention originally to come to us before it was just an informational item, and then what happened? I'm so confused about that, because now we're just seeing it where we can't really do anything about it, just kind of notification of it.
Right. I had subsequent conversations with the city manager, and the decision, unfortunately, it's along Caltrans right-of-way, so we have very little say in what they do along their state highway. I mean, it was a hard push to get them to stop and not put the rails in. I'm like, we can't do that. That is not going to work. So it's a very kid glove kind of a situation when we're working with them and we work with Caltrans all the time along the state highway, the 33 and the 150. And oftentimes they go in, I mean, we've seen the tree trimming they do along there. We try to do the best we can for the city all the time. And so it was just like, we just got to stop this, what they're doing. And so it was kind of lots of wheels in motion at that point.
Okay, yeah, just, that is something that if it could come here so the public has a place to voice their opinion, not that, it's gonna change anyone's mind, but it does let people feel heard and, your explanations, you've gone down the road, you understand why. But it's nice to still have that public forum before it's, inked, so that's something that we're working on,
Yeah.
so, but,
And I would never do anything down there without coming here if it weren't along the state highway. I mean, that's the distinction that I need to make here. We don't really get a say 100%.
I was wondering if the colors would match the colors of the arcade, if that makes a difference.
The colors of what arcade?
Of
Of the
our-
building?
Of the building, to have the color of the pots be.
The pots are a terracotta color. That's what our design standards say. They call out terracotta in our design standards.
Oh, okay, it didn't
And
look
so
like terracotta.
Yes, I know, and those, we haven't received the pots yet, so let me just take a step back too. So I said, okay, Caltrans, if you're willing to place these rails in, are you willing to buy these pots for us? And they're like, absolutely not. Keep pushing, they're buying the pots for us. They're dropping almost $30,000 on those pots for us. So, I don't know what that terracotta concrete is going to look like when we get them, but the beautiful thing about concrete is we can stain it. So if we want it more of an orange like true terracotta is, we can do that.
Well, I just thought maybe if they were a similar color to the arcade, they would blend in more.
Well, I followed the design standards, and it calls out terracotta, so. And there, like I said, there's a wide variety of what's out there too right now. And to your point too, it sounds like what you're sort of alluding to is if they blend it in. So we are also required, per Caltrans standards, and it's all about safety for Caltrans, not aesthetics. I'm all about both. I try to balance both. But the plan is to, and I really like Bill's idea of artificial plants, if we could find something that looks realistic. It gets really hot at that corner. But our plan is to not have tall plants, we can't have tall plants, and trailing plants. So the hope is that it'll be green or, plant material versus concrete to look at, ultimately.
thank you so much. Does anybody else have anything? Yes.
I have two comments. First, the trip hazard there is the fact that it goes from even to like this. And
Well,
that's
it's not
where-
that, it's only 4 to 6 inches.
Well, it's still 4 to 6
It
inches.
is.
And that is the trip hazard.
Of course.
And are the pots going to be in such a place that people don't trip? Because, Bill's very good at this, knowing the walking and all of this. That is a very bad thing down there. It's not just flat, because you catch your toe, even if it's just this
You
much.
do. That's the point of
So
these
what-
pots,
So are
yes.
these pots going to take up the entire area?
No.
So are you going to put them back far enough so that the beginning of the transgression to the street is the most dangerous? Because people don't see that, especially going into the post office where people are looking at their mail and and there's this tiny thing and all of a sudden you trip and down you go. So I'm very, very concerned about that. Elderly people have a very hard time with this.
They do, and that's the primary reason we are doing this. So I can try to explain this. So we've got the radius of the corner, all 4 corners, and then we've got the ramp. Right, the ramp. And then at the outside edge of the yellow dots, right, that's ADA required, there's curbs on either side. So what is happening is people are either on the ramp and want to get on the sidewalk, and so they're stepping up on a curb, and they're unaware of it, or they're on the sidewalk and they're stepping down for the ramp, unaware of it. So these are going to be barriers on either side of the ramp on 3 of the 4 corners.
Okay. The other concern is, I can just see it now, people dumping their sodas in there and their trash and everything else. How are you going to prevent that? It's going to be a mess.
Well, we're gonna do the best we can. We have trash cans on all four corners
But people
too.
don't use them.
How do you regulate that? How do you tell people to throw their trash in a trash can? I mean,
Well,
we would love that to happen.
Don't get defensive about it. I'm just saying that is what's going to happen. You're
Well,
gonna
then we will
find,
clean it,
and how often are you gonna do that?
however often we need to.
Okay. And what kind of plants are you going to put in? And
We
what
haven't-
color are the plants going to be?
We haven't decided on the plant material.
So will that come to us so that we have an opinion about the aesthetic look of the plants in these pots? Because that is a big deal. If you put, bright purple plants in there, maybe that isn't aesthetically pleasing.
Right, we are going to make every effort to blend it into the aesthetics. Again, I walked from Jim and Rob's all the way to the East End and back, and there are a variety of plant material, a variety of planters along that stretch. So I can work with community development and get some design standards on what plant material you guys would like to see. We're going with native, we're going with drought tolerant. Those are two of the criteria, and I would love to see something flowering.
So just to jump in a little bit, as an informational item, the HPC certainly has an opportunity to make comments and suggestions. I don't know, and it's not up to CDD staff as to whether or not the plant material will be coming back to the HPC. And I would have to review the guidelines to see if the guidelines talk about plant material. I think that just in general, the city supports exactly what you just said, that it would be drought tolerant.
And native.
And native, absolutely.
And then again, we're also trying to hit the mark that Caltrans requires. So we can't have anything that goes tall, it's
Right.
gotta be low, and we're hoping it'll be trailing to soften up the look of the concrete out there. So,
Commissioner Neeson?
Oh, I was just going to bring up the plants actually, and recommend my opinion that we don't use fake plants in there if possible, because although it's a nice idea, they can often appear quite artificial. So that's my suggestion.
Yes.
So this is being required by Caltrans, right?
no,
They're-
it's not being required by Caltrans.
I mean, they're requiring something there, like the
They will put
handrails?
something there, either handrails, that was their solution.
Okay. And then you guys came back with the pots
Yes.
because you think that'll be prettier.
It'll
than
be
the
more
handrails.
aesthetically appealing.
But the handrails will go in if
They-
the pots don't go in.
Correct. Caltrans is going to do that as a safety
Okay.
solution.
Well, my personal opinion, which I think is different than everybody else's, is I would rather see handrails than unmaintained, dirty pots. That is 100% going to happen, because I know what it's like just looking at the back of this building here, of the unmaintained area for decades, long before you even came here. This is not a city maintenance thing. It's not going to happen. Plants are not going to get watered, and it's going to be full of trash. So if they're going to force you to do something, us to do that, I would rather see something that at least it's clean, because it's going to be just dead plants and trash.
Are there other comments, suggestions to provide to staff?
Oh, I just wanted to point out in the arcade design guidelines under planters, it does say planters may be considered as an exterior element. They must contain live foliage and be regularly maintained. A planting plan must be submitted for review by the Historic Preservation Commission. So that's in
We have it.
that's in the design guidelines for the arcade.
So we'll discuss this, and again, because it's a Caltrans and a project, and it came before staff to be put on the agenda as an informational item, we will see how it returns back here. Thank you.
Chair?
Yes.
So I'm maybe going to stray a little bit, but not too much. But since we have the Public Works Director here, and having done numerous, walks with Kathy Nolan on the back part, I've been watching what's out there, and the trimming job that they did over here on the corner for all that bamboo is a giant improvement. So kudos to them
Thank you.
for getting that done.
Yeah, and when Loran gave me a ride tonight, and when we pulled up, I was noticing how we both were, how lovely it's looking out there,
Good.
and
Thank you. I
looks
appreciate
definitely
that.
Are there other
different.
comments regarding the Caltrans project?
Sorry.
I just would like to say that I can't imagine Caltrans, in 2019 or 2018, when we got our downtown state historic district, it was based on Caltrans looking at crosswalks that are not touching the sidewalks and going, wait a minute, this might be historic, let's get an HRR, let's get a report, find out. And we ended up with a California State Historic District because of it. So unless Caltrans is being run by very different people than they were, 8 years ago or so, I can't imagine them ever wanting to do that and wanting to work with you to try to find something. Because if having the sensitivity to know that they might be dealing with something historic, you would also think that they would want to keep that sort of feeling too. So I'm hopeful that is, who knows? We'll just keep involving Caltrans and we get all this stuff. We got a California State Historic District for free, and now we're getting $30,000 in cement pots for free. We're doing pretty good in Caltrans. So
We're
thank
actually
you.
very pleased with our progress with Caltrans. I don't know if any of you have ever worked with them in the past, but it is a challenge. It's a huge challenge. We get 15, 18 people out every time we have a question. There were a team of 18, 24 people on this issue alone, on
Wow.
POTS. So I'm pretty pleased with the progress we've made with them, honestly.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Also, 6 months seems like a record to me when working with Caltrans.
Well, and the reason it was a shortened period of time is because we and Caltrans have recognized that it's a problem. It's a safety concern. We want to, make that change as soon as possible. So that's the hope.
Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, thank you
Just
so
a
much.
little historic thing about Caltrans, the wall that goes between the post office and the pergola, that long wall, it used to be right next to the road, and the cars all parked diagonally. And Caltrans decided that all parking on a state highway had to be parallel. And so they had to move that wall across the sidewalk just because of this little rule that Caltrans made.
It's a challenge. I'll leave it at that.
So we don't
Thank
need
you.
to vote, right? We're just
No.
giving you our
Those are,
input.
Those are our
Thank you very
comments.
much.
so now we're going back.
Item 3? Item 3 is sign permit 26004, and it's for a proposed change to a previously approved pennants for the Ojai Music Festival to be displayed in the 27 arches of landmark number 5, the arcade and Libby Park Pergola. This is the 80th anniversary of the music festival. And at the regularly scheduled meeting of March 12th, the HPC reviewed and considered the proposed the pennants that will be here this evening, which are a change in color of previously approved pennants, but they also included in that request lanterns for the upcoming festival. And the commission expressed concerns and questions regarding the original approval of those lanterns, and ultimately continued the item to date certain, which is tonight. And they asked staff to seek legal counsel regarding the initial approval regarding the continuation of those lanterns. Since the last meeting, though, and actually quite quickly after that meeting, the applicant withdrew the request for the lanterns. And so tonight, the review is back in front of you for a change in color of the previously approved pennants. And along with that request, they would like confirmation, we would want confirmation that what's approved tonight would be hung in consecutive years, just like the previous approval. You approve it tonight, and it gets hung every year until they come, unless they have another request for a change. So, yeah, I'm going to open it up right now. So, this is the same pendant that you saw at the last meeting. Oh, I thought I rolled this out for you. I must have rolled it out after the meeting for somebody else. It's a two-sided pendant. And we do have the applicant here, if you have any questions. This is a miniature of last year's.
Oh, yeah, that's better.
Anybody have any?
Oh, sorry. The pendants are temporary. They're hung for 14 days. And because of the fact that they're temporary, the concern in the past and currently is not as strong regarding the color because it's temporary. And staff is recommending approval of the pendants as submitted for this hearing.
Does anybody have any comments?
I appreciate the fact that they withdrew the lanterns. It helps us because we're able to get back to the pennant policy as written and use that as our guidelines. So I would move approval.
I'll second that.
Roll call?
McCann,
Yes.
Sims,
Yes.
Basasha,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Akins,
Yes.
Neeson,
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
All right, now we're going on to the budget request for 26-27 fiscal year.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you like to have this too? Sure. Okay. We have pictures of everything. You do? Yeah, in our files. So. Thank you. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. So in preparing the city's annual budget, the commission has an opportunity to make a request that promotes the mission of the commission. Examples of requests in the past have included historic resource surveys, training, landmark plaques. This evening, you may wish to discuss, as I've heard before the meeting, a plaque for the theater, which would be a national plaque. And I think that was the only one there. And so tonight you can conduct a discussion regarding the budget for fiscal year 26-27, and I'll be taking notes and I can pass this along for council meeting.
Okay, I'd like to start by saying that during our joint council meeting, we explained how pre-COVID that we had 2 HRRs done on a property each year in our budget, and then that kind of fell off, and we kind of got sidetracked with other projects. But we felt it was really important to come back to it, and we seem to have their support to do that as well. So I'd like to make sure that that is something that we request. And then the other thing is education. I'd like to keep that on there. And then the National Register plaque, what that is I was talking to Commissioner Akins about the gift that David Berger gave to the city of Ojai by creating a national landmark from the theater. And, you know, we were I was talking to Moore about whether it's like, is it a gift to David for the city to do a plaque? And I was like, well, it was a gift from David to the city to have this, this national landmark. And so long past David is gone, 100 years from now, that's still going to be a national landmark, and it's something that the city will always benefit for, to have another one under our belt. It's really nice. I mean, it's such a gift. So we were talking about the logistics and maybe putting onto our budget, doing offering to do the National Register plaque. I thought that, would be a nice, so I don't know if everybody's shaking their head, yes? Yes.
So I did a month or two ago go by and talk with David Berger. I'd been trying to get a hold of him, and in order to give him the plaque that I have here, which the plan is now for Gina and I to look for the windows open in the front and go find David, or I'm going to a movie with my wife tomorrow. So maybe we'll bring Gina along. So in talking to David, he was and I mentioned the plaque. What came out of that is that he said he was going to prepare his own plaque. Didn't surprise me at all. I told him that if in doing so, that if he would please work with me and me through for the HPC. So this is something that came from David on wanting to put a plaque on that wall. I don't think we had really taken a forefront on that because, again, this is a national landmark rather than a local landmark. But I wholeheartedly agree with the chair, having gone there several times to curry favor with Mr. Berger. It is beautiful. It is loved by the city, recommended by the city. Councilman, memory loss is one of the downsides. It's been recommended at the council level in one of the meetings. So I think that having a national landmark and having a theater with the history, if you go in and click on the link for the history of the theater, it is fascinating. It is fabulous. Craig Walker's mentioned 3 times. And with the background information and all of the gyrations that it's gone on, which are some of them quite entertaining. People being buried in the sidewalk. So I think there is truly a benefit to the community by having a national landmark, having the longest running theater. I'm not sure how big the geographical thing, and I think that we can show our appreciation or recognition to Mr. Berger for the fine job they've done and the gift they've given to the community. And when I got a phone call way back years ago, it was kind of right during COVID, and the owner of the property's daughter said, "Hey, we have this guy coming in wants to buy the theater. Can we meet with him?" And so we met way down front, nice spacing. And David, from the very beginning, was that he wanted to make this a hub for the community. So when people come into town, that they will come here, and then he can share with them all of the beauty and the benefits of the city of Ojai. And when I've been to a couple fundraisers there for Rock Tree Sky and other places, and what he's doing is he is doing what he said he wanted to do, and I congratulated him for that. So I think the benefit is truly to the community for what he's done, as the chair just said.
Thank you. So this that we're looking at here, it says the 2026 adopted budget. So that is 25-26?
25-26 is the adopted budget.
Is that what
we're
I'm
looking at 26-27?
We're looking at 26-27 here.
25-26 is the current budget.
25-26 is the current budget, but when you talk to the council, you'll be talking about 26-27.
Right, but the one with the doing the survey, is that 25-26 or is that 26-27?
The survey was paid out of 25-26.
Okay, that was my question. Okay, what about the difference in the cost of the survey that we had?
25-26.
Perfect. All right. So that does make sense then, since that is done and on a different budget, that I think we stick with what was approved at our joint council meeting and asking for 2 HRRs. Is that?
Yeah, if I could just comment, I think the events of the last year show us that there's a need for a couple of HRRs or other studies to be done. One is the back of the arcade, the arcade plaza. I think that just cries out for a HRR to be done on it, because we've seen a lot of confusion about how the history of that area relates to the history of the arcade, and now that we have a downtown Ojai historic district, how that fits in with that when it was meant to be an extension of the arcade and the downtown buildings. So some kind of historic study of the arcade plaza, I think, would be very helpful. And then also there was an issue that Commissioner Sims brought up, which was the lanterns that were in the park, and whether or not, how those fit in with the fact that that's now part of a historic district. So when we were granted the historic district, there was a letter from the state that said the city should come up with design guidelines for that. So because for one reason, if a property owner worked within the guidelines of the historic district, then they wouldn't have to do a CEQA study at all. They could be exempted from it. So if we have those design guidelines, it can be a benefit for a lot of the people that own property down there. But also it can help us kind of tease out some of these issues as to, well, how much do we allow for people to do this or that? How much does it interfere with the historic? So this might be a good time to request the funds for, first of all, the historic report for the Arcade Plaza, but also design guidelines for the downtown historic district.
Okay. So that still fits in with doing those two HRRs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we had done in the past was we would have a meeting that everyone brought forward what they thought an HRR should be on that year, and then we voted on it. And then we'd have, it's almost like the awards, you know, we would come up with a list of like 5 different, and then everybody would talk about why we thought this was more pertinent. Maybe it was in danger or something like that of being demoed, or we needed to understand it better. Or maybe somebody had a historic home that they couldn't afford to do an HRR, and so they were coming to us. So, and then we would vote on it and move forward. So that's kind of what we're hoping to do with this budget. So the two HRRs are education budget and the National Register plaque. I know I asked you this I think it was the last meeting, but what should we put a pop-up, if we're gonna be doing more of these things, should we put a pop-up in our budget, or does the city have one, or should we just keep using yours? I don't wanna just assume that you wanna let us borrow it a couple of times a year, or
Borrow
your
what?
pop-up that we used.
Oh, the pop-up. You're welcome to use it as long as I have it.
Okay, then. And then, Commissioner Akins, I know we've used your chairs. That's okay, the white chairs?
Yeah, yep, however I can help.
And possibly a table, because if it's not, we're not
Have a table
also
too.
doing if it's different times of the year, that's not the jail, then you could utilize those tables for the pop-up. Okay,
Absolutely.
so, why spend the money on something if we don't need to? So, never mind on that. Anything else? Yes.
I would like to suggest that the training, education seminar budget request is double that. See what happens. Because we would like to encourage people we would like to have, say, a Mills Act review done by somebody who can't afford to do it. Those are very expensive. Is that what
That's the training means us going to training classes. It's our education.
Okay, so what's the?
It's not on there.
That would,
The
that would,
grant thing is not on here.
The HRR, which is,
so there's nothing on here except examples of something that's been done in the
Oh,
past.
okay.
So
Well,
what,
I'm
what,
suggesting-
so what you're doing tonight is perhaps coming up with different ideas of things that you want to get money for. And so Gina, the chair, suggested historic resource reports as have been done in the past, and I think you mentioned 2, education budget, and also perhaps money for a plaque for the theater. So thus far, those are the only things that have been asked for.
yeah, and
Or that
the
you've discussed.
HRRs and the education were discussed at our joint council, and we had support from the city for those 2. So I'm not sure if there's anything else that anybody would like to add on to this. I mean, I think our,
Sounds like-
our 2026, 27 budget still has to be pretty heavy leaning on our survey.
So, but it sounds like Commissioner Moore suggested Mills Acts, which would be separate from historic resources reports. It would be in addition to, it would be another item.
So Mills Act, in what way?
Well, you want people to have their property landmarked. Not everybody has the money to do that. So I'm suggesting that we have a fund for that. Not that we're necessarily going to use it.
So how is that different from the HRR
Well,
fund?
I don't, I mean,
If I could say, oftentimes when people landmark their property, they do the Mills Act at the same time.
right,
So I think what you're saying is have a fund that would help promote that
right.
two-step process that would include the funds for the HRR for the landmark, but would also include, which isn't really as expensive, the documentation for the Mills Act. So it would be both, that's one,
Right.
yeah.
And if we had even seed money in something like that, I think
Well,
that,
grant writing, we've talked about having somebody that knows how to write grants to get us money too.
yeah, there's one going on right now that, I'll send it to you. It's a, you might be able to help me with it, but there's some free money out there, so.
I don't know how to get that.
It's not a grant, it's through the National Preservation Foundation. I'll send it, I'd like to talk to you about it, see if we can.
Yeah, it's like,
figure
I
it
mean,
out.
I had to hire a historian to Mills Act the Foothill House, in the Arbolata, and it cost me almost 10 grand, and that was years ago. And it's daunting to spend that for a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, and so I would like us to have the ability to say, make an award for somebody or a structure that we really would like to see brought into the historic, be landmarked, that we can help pay for as part of our
I
budget.
think that's what we want to do, right?
That's the two HRRs.
Okay.
Chair, can I just make a point?
Yes.
Again, the mayor's here, his ears might pop up. So we have often talked about the our group doing support for a historic resources report. We have moving from also doing what's needed for the Mills Act is kind of counterproductive to the city because basically we're helping somebody take money away from the city. And if the people are doing the
Of Ventura.
count, no, well,
It's a tax collector.
it does, but the county, the city gets a portion, on that. So basically, it takes away from us to some degree. So that's, one of the things that goes with that conversation.
So when you go to council, or when we take this to council, we'll need to talk about dollars. So
Okay.
I'm gonna
Well, with the
consider
two
that.
HRRs, I would like to talk to HRG and maybe just get a 2026 cost because everything is higher than it has been.
Why don't we do 4 HRRs?
Well,
We can ask for 4, because I think it's a benefit to the city. If we're gonna do,
Well, the idea of an HRR is to be more thorough than our
Right.
survey. I think the most important thing right now is getting that survey done and adopted, and then looking at what ones are, and then deciding,
so in next year's budget, you're suggesting?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
I think
Got it.
maybe ramping up for that, but right now, the survey has to be done so we understand what we have first. And I think there are leftovers that, pre-COVID, that we never finished with. One was Boyd. That was one that we were talking about doing the year before COVID. And I think the Lion Street
You're talking about homes that,
I'm talking about things that we were talking about doing HRRs when we went into COVID and stopped talking about those things. But those were some of the things. So, and I think that talking about the plaza, all of these things, so that right there is more than two. But it takes a lot of effort and time to do them, where I think with the survey, we might be too taxed to focus on the survey and focus on, so I think starting out with two, with our workload this year with the survey, it's probably makes more sense than doing, so maybe next, I mean, that's just my opinion. I would think starting out with two.
Why don't we find out what two
Cost?
would cost, and then we'll put that in for our budget.
Okay, and then, but,
Chair, before you move onto that subject, sorry to interrupt you. One of the things that Randy Levitt was talking about when we were talking about Mills Act and stuff, and we were on the phone with the architect that did much of the work for the theater, and Randy was trying to work with him in order to set some kind of plan in that would be kind of a cookie cutter type HRR that they would then lower the price on. So just something to think about going forward. I know you put that out for bid, but.
That's why I was trying to hope for HRG too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
excellent, yes.
Yeah. Also, those three things, education, the National Register plaque, the two HRRs, that's three. And then I would like to maybe talk with you, Laurel, over the, and try to see what it would look like to have a grant writer, how much they cost, and then come back at our next meeting. Because we have another meeting before we have to do a budget, a request.
I have to look into that.
Hmm?
I have to look into that.
Okay.
I'm not sure. But that's why I brought up a few minutes ago that you'll need to talk dollars.
Yeah, because
I know that, like, for instance, the plaque that we did for the downtown historic district was about $7,000. And so if you're talking about a plaque for the theater,
we were talking about a
smaller.
plaque the size of like the school district building.
okay. I don't recall what that one costs, but maybe somewhere between 2 and 5. I know that's a big stretch, but if, what was it, half the size? Anyway, it's going to, what was it?
A third of the size?
Was it like $2,000?
I would say it was probably within $1,000 up or down of the $3,000 level.
We're not of 3,000. Okay.
We
that's between 2 and 5.
purposely, and it was kind of a negotiation with the school, put a lot of information on that plaque. And they
Which
were
plaque
like,
are you talking about right now? I thought we were talking about the
school
Libby.
district,
Oh,
the size
okay.
of
the school district over
Okay.
there. And, I told them, hey, we like it. We want people to come up and to read about it, to know about it.
So how many years ago was that?
7, 8, 6,
Okay.
7, 8.
So if it was about $3,000 then it's.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Okay.
anyway, you will need to talk dollars.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can
So-
always get quotes.
Can we send an email to you with, these are the things we want to do, and now we research, and these are the, okay,
Yes, and I'll find out when it's going to be at council for
okay.
budget discussion.
All right, so ready to move on? Okay, we're item number 5, which is the Ojai Railroad Heritage Trail interpreted signage, which is already long, but now we want to try to get Ventura in that title too, right? So that's kind of what we're here for, but do you have a staff report?
Well, actually, I'm going to just turn it right over to our ad hoc, which is Commissioner Walker and Basasha.
Okay.
Well, we had our first meeting of our creative team at the museum, and they were all very enthusiastic. There was about, 10 people there, I think, and we talked about a number of issues. We're having our second meeting coming up on the 21st, where we'll nail down design and content templates for the signs. So that's really exciting to see it starting to progress and people excited about it. One of the things that we did talk about was the name of it was the Ojai Railroad Heritage Trail, but it really connects Ventura and Ojai. And the name of the railroad itself going back to the 1890s, was the Ventura and Ojai Valley Railroad. So everybody seemed to think it would be better to name it the Ventura and Ojai Valley Railroad Heritage Trail. It's a little bit longer, but it really identifies the railroad and connects Ventura. And there's a lot of interest in Ventura of helping with this project. I went and talked to Dea Terrafranca, who's the head librarian at the Ventura County Museum, and she agreed that they would help with research and materials. They have a lot of photographs that they can contribute, and normally they charge quite a bit for people to use their photographs. The Ojai Museum is much more generous as far as letting people use their materials. But so this, I think, will be huge and will really help us out a lot. I've also got a contact with the city of Ventura to talk to them about being on board, because a lot of it will go through their city. So all that's kind of coming together pretty well. Anyway, I think we should have a report for you next month that'll show a lot more progress.
And so are you voting this evening on the name changing to Ventura and Ojai Valley Heritage Trail?
Yeah, I should ask if everybody's okay with that.
And I think I interrupted Commissioner Vasasha. Okay, sorry.
I do have a question, though. So could you reiterate what you said about how that used to be the name of the railroad? Did I get that right?
That was the name of the railroad, yeah.
Okay.
Ventura and Ojai Valley Railroad.
Okay, well, that's important.
Yeah, that was the name.
You're not just making up some.
No, in fact, when the idea was first proposed for a railroad to connect Ojai with Ventura back in about 1892, that name was established for the railroad, and every effort to do it actually failed for 10 years. They had like 4 or 5 different committees form and try to get it done. And it took them about 10 years to get it done, but all through the process, that name stayed the same. So it's always been the Ventura and Ojai Valley Railroad. And so this will just be the Ventura and Ojai Valley Railroad Heritage Trail. I think it really helps to draw in the Ventura people, and we'll have a great working relationship. It's interesting because the bicycle trail is something that was put together by the county and benefits people in Ojai and people in Ventura and people places in between. So hopefully this will be something that'll do the same. So I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Actually, I have an update. So in our last museum board meeting, the executive director, Wendy Barker, had an update, and I'll read that for you. It says, sorry, mouse not working tonight. Railroad Trail Project. It says, Roger is the our graphics person. Terrific, he was here tonight. Roger and I will be working with Craig Walker, Mark Lewis, and a few others on a project to install signage throughout the valley along the bike trail. The first 4 of 25 proposed signs have been funded by the city and a couple of donors. Each sign will indicate more information on the particular topic covered is available on the museum website. So just an update from the museum.
Yeah.
So, good.
Well, it's nice to have the museums involved, because that's what they do, is they create exhibits. So to have them working on this, and they know how to put a display together that will attract people's attention and will be readable by people. So we're very lucky to have them involved.
Do you know if that's 26, 27, or is that 25, 26? Should that be on there for those 4?
The initial 4 were 25, 26.
Are we sure? Because I know we talked about it, but I don't know. It is? Yep, mayor says yes. Thank you.
We're counting on it.
I wasn't sure if it had to be included. I know we got approval for it. I just wasn't sure if it was like, because it hasn't happened yet, it was a future.
Nope.
Awesome.
Nope.
Okay, and then did you still want it to have interpretive signage at the end of it, or is that?
What's that?
It says interpretive signage. That's dropped from the title now?
That's not part of the name.
Okay.
I think that's just to put a subject on for your discussions.
Okay. Yeah, I like the new name, everybody. I think that by including Ventura, you're gonna be able to get more Ventura interest and more money, more support, sponsors.
And they have a lot more information and pictures and things like that, so.
So since it's a discussion item, you want to take an aye?
Aye?
Aye.
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 All right.
Any noes? 7-0.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Now we're on to the survey update.
Yes, and I'm going to turn the survey update over to Chair McCatton and Commissioner Walker after they had a kickoff meeting on April 2nd that I had to run out of. So if you want to give an update to the rest of the commission, that would be great. This is an informational item.
I wanted to get to the little note that here it is. It says, we talked about, and this is just a letter that I sent to you, Maura. It said we talked about basic stuff, introductions, going over timelines, goals, and research, and how they wanted to communicate with Craig, and how everything that Craig communicates with any of their team will be all going through Christine, who's their lead on this. As far as, there was 3 people on the call. It was Cyan? Yes.
CN.
Alexandra and Christine, and they'll be working on research and comparing the last survey to our current survey. And then as we move more into the field, there'll be different people working on that are experts in field work. And that's kind of where we're at.
Well, one of the things I sent everybody a link to the context statement, because that's the kernel of the whole thing, and I thought it would be a good idea if everybody followed along the progress, because they pointed out that that's the first thing they'll do is write that context statement. And that's something that we can all contribute to through me to them, because we all live here, we all know the history, we all know the themes, or we know some of them that we can suggest and to them to research and to bring as a part of it. So if you read through that, one of the things you'll notice, for example, is that there's nothing on the Chumash or any of the Native Americans. And so one of the things they want to start with is to write a good context statement on the Chumash and the other Indian, the other Native American groups that lived here. So if any of you have anything, I was thinking, Kate, that you might be able to add and suggest some sources and information for them, and I can find out from them what would be helpful. But as you know, one of the oldest Native American settlements in the whole North America was up in Miramani, up on the hill there, for the Millingstone Horizon people about 8,000 or 9,000 years ago. And the Chumash came much later, but that's a part. And even though we don't have any Chumash relics or buildings around, we do have that one tree by the bowl that was said to be the Chumash origin for that tree. But a lot of our place names, a lot of our lore, a lot of what people think of when they think of what makes Ojai Ojai kind of comes from those traditions. So I think it's a great idea to start with that and to have that in the study. And then the parts of the study that are already done by the previous person, those can be updated, and what those have is various themes, and those are important because when a future writer of a historic research report is looking at a building, they'll want to go to that context report to see what theme the house falls into or the building falls into. So if you could go through those current themes and sub-themes and see if anything should be added. One thing that probably is important to do is underrepresented people. There's nothing in our context statement that has to do with women's history or Hispanic families that would have been here or any of that. So those are the kind of things that we could add to make the context statement a little more complete. And then the big part of what they'll add is the years from 1960 to 1985, because those will be, that's when the 50-year period kind of brings more houses, more buildings into eligibility for historic status. So if you can go back, those of you that have been in Ojai a while, and think 1960 to 1985, and there actually is a lot of history. You know, the whole Y shopping center came into being during that period. There was a lot of angst and things that went on that led to the Arcade Plaza. They built that as a reaction to the all the development that was going out at the Y. So those kind of themes and stories, if we know about them or have a suspicion, just send me an email and I can write to them and say, this is something you might want to look at because people think this is an important part of our history. So anyway, they sounded very positive, and they said a lot of people wanted to work on Ojai because a lot of the historians around that they contract with were all going, we want to work on this project, hire me, you know, but they got their team together, and it looks like a really good one.
Yeah. It's exciting to know the contracts are signed and they're starting to work, and yeah, so it's all, so this is going to be really based with Craig, because I didn't want them to feel that they had to come to council, come to here, unless they want to, they're welcome to, but on a more regular basis, to have it all go through their liaison, and then their liaison can update us on a monthly basis, and that would just seem to be keeping things moving quickly. And
I'm not sure at the moment how many meetings are in their contract, but they can also, they're scheduled to come to just so many meetings. So that's another reason to have the updates through Craig.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you for giving all of your time.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Oh, I think it'll be a chance for all of us to learn more about Ojai history too.
I do think between the survey and the railroad project, Craig Walker's going to be very busy, so let's hope he gets reappointed. Okay, so now we are on the what is it, 718 Foothill.
Yes, so this item and the next are informational items. They are, well, I'll start with one. Number 8 is a notification of a proposed director approval of a minor work permit 26002. It's for a re-roof of historic landmark number 13, which is the O.W. Robertson House. It's located at 718 Foothill Road. The project involves replacing the existing roof with new shingles, a slightly darker shade. They are designed to closely resemble the current shingles. The existing tile style and color is no longer available. Let's see. The green shingle roof is called Chateau Green, and the tile roof is not one of the character-defining features of this landmark. And with that, if you have any comments.
I would like to start out by the same comment that I made earlier this evening about things coming to us earlier. I want to thank both you and Lucas for getting this to us, and also for 1000 Foothill coming up next. Once again, they're coming to us just once the clock already started. So if we can get things sooner, which is what the ad hoc is working on, to hopefully have a place, a public forum, people to talk about it. Because I'm in disagreement as far as, I know you have the background here that it's called out fireplaces, 2 original ballroom lamps, Dutch doors, unpainted, original flooring, and Swiss chalet-style embellishments remain. Since the roof is not one of the protected features, then the roof qualifies as a minor work report rather than major. That is just internal things, which in our landmarks, our local landmarks, we call out character-defining features on the inside of a house because we only landmark the outside unless things are called out. So putting a roof on roof is always going to be a character-defining feature. It'd be like saying we're going to take this mid-century modern and we're going to put Spanish tiles on it. Everybody would be like, wait a minute, that's a character-defining feature. So roofs are. I really believe that looking at this and doing my research on it, I don't think we're going to have any pushback on it. I think this is a fine, everybody needs a roof. They're doing like for like. They're doing a good quality product. But it's just the idea that saying that it's not a character-defining features, I think incorrect. So I think it should come to the HPC, not as a just something for us to comment on once. We would have to appeal it in order for it to stop at this point. Not that we want to, but it's just the idea of it would be nice if the public had a spot to come and talk, and we had a spot before the clock started ticking on it. So.
Can I ask a question kind of related to what you're saying? So let's say this applicant had come to the city with the style of roof that we were discussing last month with Terramina, you know, that oak wood style. Let's say they had come to you with that. Would you have approved that over this, which seems more like the old style that's on it now? Just out of curiosity.
So it's a discretionary permit that the director reviews and makes a determination on. So I don't feel it's appropriate to answer the question like that he would or would not. If I can say that if somebody had a Spanish tile roof, but it wasn't, this is just an example, just out of my head, that and it wasn't they didn't call it out as a character defining object, and they came in with a comp shingle roof, I can't imagine that it would be approved. So it would be denied, and then they would have to appeal it to the Planning Commission. I mean, if they even went that far. So it is reviewed and considered, certainly, as a historic structure, and the Landmark and the Mills Act and the Historic Resources Report are all reviewed during the director's consideration.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Commissioner Walker?
I think it may also just have been an oversight, because on the landmark agreement form, that's the actual document that they made up on page 3, under the standards for historic property, it says character defining features include, but are not necessarily limited to, the general architectural form, style, materials, design,
scale, details.
Details, mass, roof line, porch, and other aspects of the appearance of the exterior. So and then it says minimum standards and conditions for maintenance, use, and preservation of the historic property. But anyway, it does say that for that property, any alteration at all must come back to the HPC for them. It says that right in the document. So anyway, it may have just have been that he saw the part about the lamps inside and thought that was it, but then there was this whole other discussion of the exterior.
So the description in your staff report states that the specific request includes repair and replacement, and so again, the director has the authority to review not only the project, but then the code and decide
Right.
whether or not it's a minor or a major work permit.
Well, I think that
So,
fits
thank you.
as a minor, because it is a like for like mostly. I mean, it is the same style of roof, and the color's a little different, but apparently the other one isn't known if it is what the actual original color was. So I'm not opposed at all to just, this is fine, and I'm glad you brought it to us so that we could look at it, and I don't see any problem with it.
No, I'm glad it came to us too. I just, once the clock starts ticking, if there was something unusual about it, it would have to be an appeal, and then that just seems, it'd be nice if it was just before that clock started ticking. Just to, that's what we're here for. We're just here to answer questions and see if we have any information on it. But it's still going to be the same outcome. I mean, a roof, somebody needs a roof, somebody needs a roof.
Also, he says that the law, that we have 15 days to appeal it, but the actual historic ordinance says that it's at least 15 days it has to be notified. So it could be a longer period. It doesn't have to have this cutoff, and if we don't have a meeting within those 15 days, then we don't get to look at it. If we have a meeting that's 17 days out, he can easily make that date of approval be the 17 days. And it does say that it needs to be on an HPC's agenda so that the public can see, and if there's a neighbor or somebody who has a complaint or has a problem with it, they can come to our meeting and ask us to appeal it or appeal it themselves.
And so actually, on page 3 of 4, last paragraph, the project is being routed to the HPC and published on the website for 15 days before approval of the minor work permit. It's after that 15-day period that an appeal would be required.
Right, but why is that? It says in the historic code that it's a minimum of 15 days.
Okay, so
That's what I don't understand, why he sets this 15 days, and if we don't have a meeting within that 15 days.
I think what we discussed in the last couple, it wasn't last meeting, I think it was the meeting before, and that was to make sure that these got to you within that time period. Then that's kind of an agreement that we've made. And
it also says it should come before the HPC. It should be on our next agenda, right?
it's on this agenda before that 15 days is up.
Right, but that
So you
hasn't
can
been
comment.
true with all of them.
But he,
Right, that's, in the last couple of months, it's been made very clear that we are going to do that from here forth.
Oh, okay, my
Yeah,
mistake.
and
Thank
that's,
you.
we want to make sure we're following the code, following
Yeah.
the process, and getting these to you. And so that's a commitment that we want to stick to.
Okay, I appreciate that,
Yeah.
thank you.
And so it would not be an appeal. If you had comments this evening, they would go to the director because the approval's not done yet.
that's what I was wondering.
Right.
Yes, thank you. So it wouldn't be appealed.
It wouldn't be an appeal at this point. There was a time in the past, there was one item that, there was like, you had, a minute, an hour, or something. It was, you were reading something like right before that approval was up. And that was when we thought, wait a minute, let's read the code very clearly, and we need to get these here within that 15 days to give you the opportunity to review it and comment.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
And your comments will go
Chair,
right back
can I
to the
give you
director.
some information, some back
Yes.
information? So that property, as you know, Claire and Terry Hill is just up the hill from them. It was owned by the family that they got to know that ended up buying another property here. I heard that it was coming up, I knew it was a landmark, heard that it was coming up for sale. And so I asked Claire if she could talk to the owner and if she would let myself take Roger Conrad, again, who was here and who's the graphics person, to the house with his cameras and take pictures of the interior of the house. And so I met for the first time Cindy Combry, who basically said, here's the house, the door's open, I have to go somewhere, just lock it when you leave. And so Roger and I walked all through the house. It is beautiful inside. It was purchased because the person that purchased it, it reminded her of the home she grew up in the northeastern area with a lot of wood wall. And here, you said painting, I'm not sure if you're talking about internally or externally. Again, it was all wood inside, and that new owner ended up painting that wood inside. And the way we found out it was being painted is it showed up in Architectural Digest with the new paint job inside. And so, and it was brought to Lucas's for pursuit, but so a beautiful home. Cindy ended up selling that, and she had restored the home. Then she went down to the Tudor house and restored that. But yeah, just a beautiful house.
Did you know that house is duplicated up at Casa Dorinda in Montecito? Morgan Baker, who owned that house, built an exact miniature replica of it, and it sits in Casa Dorinda's grand room.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in case you want to look at it.
Oh, I do. That's great.
I love the history you all bring to this. It makes it so much fun. Does anybody have any comments, or are we done here on this? Everything looks good? Let's move on.
Number 9, this is another notification of a proposed director approval of minor work permit, 26004. It's a re-roof, replacing the existing roof tile for landmark number 4, which is the Libby House, located at 1000 Foothill. The project involves replacing the existing roof of the single-story, single-family residence with a new cedar, that's capital C, small e, capital D, capital U, capital R. That's a brand of a faux cedar shake shingles, and the color is Walden, and it's the proposal is to match the existing roof tiles that they're designed to resemble the existing ones. The change is not going to negatively impact the roof, nor will it compromise the contributing structure or character-defining features. We do have the faux plastic roof shingle. I hate to say that. I hate to use the word plastic. Right here, there's a 1987 report in the file, and the recommendation from the HPC at the time indicates the shingle roof has been covered with shakes. So I think this is the shake that covered an original shingle. There's evidence that the original shingle were stained green with a copper fire preventive solution. But this here is replacing the existing shake shingles.
Can I ask a question? Is what's on there on the house now, are they wooden?
No, I believe that they're also plastic and that this is a better quality.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I talked to the applicant about that.
Okay, so the old new ones or the new old ones are falling apart in
Yes,
some manner.
and these are supposed to be a much sturdier, a much better quality.
Well, I think it's amazing that he's going to the expense of using something like this, because I'll bet it's not cheap.
Sure, it's not.
It's funny that both of the Myron Hunt houses need roof at the same time.
And I think this is the third roof in the last 2 months. I think we had one last month.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's roofing season.
Firmino.
Does anybody
So
have
if
any
there are,
comments on this roof?
Are there any comments? Yeah.
No? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
So item 10 is the educational update.
You had a class that you went to, right, that you enjoyed?
Yes, in fact, it was on Tuesday. Steve Schaefer presented photographing historic sites, all sorts of different things. It was fascinating, and how he does that and how he stores all of it and the cost of it and so forth. And the other man, Ellen White, happens to be one of my daughter's very close friends, and he does digital processes for historic preservation. And he and his wife were actually married at Hearst Castle. So this was very personal for me to watch all this. But Steve Schaefer is really, we're very lucky to have him help us when he does. So it was well worth 3 hours of my time.
I know there's a couple upcoming that were sent to us, but I don't have them in front of me, so I don't want to just be distracted here. So we'll just make sure that to check your email, that anything you got from Ida in the last week or so. I know there's a couple of things in the next couple weeks, but I don't have anything else to report. Anyone? I do want to know, how'd your midterm go?
It went well.
Good.
Yeah.
Speaking of education.
Thanks for asking.
Okay, we're done with that.
And so the next item is future agenda items. And in May, we have on the calendar here to discuss the arcade paint colors.
The arcade what?
Paint colors.
Paint colors.
So that must have been requested at some point to be brought in. And so what I have is what was previously approved, and it's one large fan of colors. So I only have that one fan. I guess that's not what it's called, but I don't know what else to call it. it's up to the HPC, up to the commissioners, is how they want to review the colors. I think a good year ago, there was a discussion about the colors and how they needed to be updated. I don't know if everybody agrees with that. The colors, the colors are Benjamin Moore, and they may not be colors that, let's just put it this way. If somebody wants a color from 1980, all they have to do is give the number that's on that fan. So those colors are still made today. And that's, anyway, I'm gonna let you guide me. What do you want to do regarding the next agenda and colors?
I think that came from you, Commissioner Sims.
Well, I was concerned about the fact that the colors that are being painted aren't the colors that they're supposed to be, and I still think there's a problem down in the arcade, but I don't know where to take my complaint, because I've already gone through this once.
Okay, so I think maybe the discussion isn't about the approved paint colors, and it's about specific colors that are painted on recently approved paint colors.
Well, that was one I remember. I think we had this big discussion in here, and I think, Brian, you wanted to bring it back. This was 1.5 years ago,
Okay,
to
so
talk about expanding the color palette or something.
Yeah,
I
so-
don't agree with that, but that's brought up to me.
This came to the forefront back when Bonnie Lou's, the 4 stores that are right there at the very end, they wanted to refresh the paint on those and maybe do some changes. And the problem was that they didn't really have a paint. The paint palette guy actually came out, talked to us and said, yeah, I mean, you can do it now based on the thing, but to have the chips, is that what it is, to look at? Yeah, those don't exist anymore. And so we talked about that time of whether we needed to review the colors, because, you know, they're newer colors that are, and so that was part of the discussion. And then the discussion came up when we were talking about the signs and the paint colors in those.
Well,
So-
one of the things I think about is that, you know, it says in the design guidelines that it's supposed to reflect, whether that's the design of the front of the store or the colors, the late 1800s, early 1900s, that it should reflect that period. And I feel if we're going to launch into changing the color scheme, we should probably get someone who, like these people that are coming to do our survey, who can tell us what colors would be appropriate, because it's hard for us to do that, not really having that background on the colors from that era. And also, sometimes we just have to decide for a particular building, and we may think, oh, well, that building might be okay to have that yellow, but then once it's in there, it's a little bright, and it's hard to really see how it all fits. So I would hope that if we do change the colors and get into a project like that, that we get the assistance of someone, a historian, that can come and help us to match colors from that era, or what would be appropriate. Because one of the things that's written in there is that we seem to have lost track of is that the storefronts are supposed to be semi-standardized. They're not supposed to be competing with each other, you know. They're supposed to be like a standard kind of design of these buildings from the late 1800s. And of course, every shop owner wants his building to stand out and be the one that grabs people's attention. But then every time that happens, the integrity of the arcade as what it was intended to be, which was that city beautiful design of having the arcade and having it cover the stores behind it in a unified manner, that gets lost. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents on it.
I'm leaving it up to you as to what you want on your agenda.
I think we should hold off on it until Craig has some time to discuss it with HRG, and maybe they have somebody who can
Come and help.
come and help.
Yeah. because we don't want to lose the integrity of the arcade. And I think historically, people have done a pretty good job of keeping it, but I've noticed a lot of things happening there that just make me think this would be a good time to go back. And I think we are going to do that with our meeting, right? We're going to talk to the people downtown, and this is the purpose of the arcade, and this is what it stands for historically, and hopefully get some buy-in.
Well, also, I think in this research, we're going to find out that in 1900, it was actually a pretty limited color palette on buildings. It's not like today, where the fan has like 1,200 colors or more, right?
But
It's
maybe
pretty
we-
basic.
Yeah, maybe we have to think about that.
Oh, no, I'm not saying we
Yeah.
shouldn't. I'm just saying, I don't think it's going to be as complicated as we might think.
Right, that's
That's
true.
what I mean.
And it's a project to take on. So.
Okay, so I would like to add something onto the May agenda about, let me do this quick. I met with the owners of Treasures of Ojai, and they were talking about wanting to landmark. And we started talking about them being part of a contributing building within the State Historic District. And maybe there's a better way to do that. Maybe there's a better way to, if you're a contributing property, maybe they wouldn't have to start from square one because it would be redundant because we have all this information. So I asked Maura, and Maura asked me to talk to Christine at HRG, and she said there's two ways that we could do it. And one would be an ordinance change that said that pretty much because the local landmark is the lowest of the local, state, and national, that if you are eligible for the national, which everyone who is contributing to the district, as a district, they're eligible for the National Register, and that was what made it become on a state district, then they would automatically, if you're contributing, they would be a local landmark. Or, because that is an ordinance change, if we wanted to do something more procedural within us, would be more like that they would take a picture of the outside of their building, they would take pictures of character defining features, they would include a packet to us that said their intention of landmarking, and this is the information that they could find on their building, and in that they're contributing to the State Historic District, and then come to us, and then we would let them know if it's something that they could landmark. So they wouldn't have to start from square one, they wouldn't have to pay all the amount of money to landmark. I think they're very passionate about history, but they also bought like top of the market where they're paying so much in, I know that it won't work for a lot of people who maybe bought in the 60s, but for these people it's like, it would make a difference in their property taxes if they were able to Mills Act, and if something was to happen in that building because their mortgage is so high and their property taxes are so high and their insurance is so high that if something happened, we're preventing, by being able to landmark them and Mills Act them, we're preventing something bad from happening. Like they said, they have wires that just go into a wall that say ice cream. They don't know what it means, So it would be really nice to have them have a Mills Act to where this year we're working. So if one building has electrical problem and catches fire, it affects every building. It doesn't just affect the buildings, it affects the heartbeat of our town. And so anything that we can do to help these businesses, somehow take care of one another, and if it could be through contributing properties and Mills Act on some of these who want to do it, it seems like the best thing to do. So I would like them to come to our next meeting too. They really want to be involved. I asked them if they would be the guinea pigs to this to see how we can get this going, and they were willing. So to just discuss which way we'd want to go with ordinance change or procedural change and how it would look. And so I would like that on the next agenda if it's okay with everyone. Yeah? Okay. Yes.
Yeah, that goes like with what I was talking about before.
Mhm.
It's just, having a fund that could help people do this. And and writers that can help and that are familiar with that. There's training involved in writing grants. It's not something you just sit down and do easily. So I think it would be great to work with them.
Okay.
Yes, and a long time ago, Steve Schaefer suggested that with our downtown historic district, that we could say that if you're a contributing property to the downtown historic district, you can be fast-tracked into a landmark and a Mills Act, because they've already been looked at, and they've already been decided on a national level that they are eligible for the national register. So it might just involve some paperwork to get down, like what are the character defining features and some things like that. But then just if they want to be landmarked and get that Mills Act, they could move into that a lot quicker and less expensive.
Exactly. Okay. Anything else for future agenda? Actually, I do have, I haven't talked to Christy Rivera yet, but there is some sort of pop-up in, or idea to do a pop-up in, I think it's Art in the Park in May. And so I'm going to give her a call and reach out, but that's something that, I don't even know what date it is, if May 14th is already too late, but if it is, then I'm going to be doing some emails through Maura to see if anybody's willing to come and volunteer a few hours here and there to do that. I think it'll be a good idea, because it'll be, if we do this presentation and we talk about the history and we talk about why we want to, follow those City Beautiful principles, but we don't really have an opportunity for the public to talk to us. These pop-ups are very informal, where people can come and talk, and we can explain where we're coming from. So I think that I'm going to look into that. So that's, I don't know if it goes on in May. I don't know when it is, so it might. Oh, good. So it could be on the next agenda. Thank you. And does somebody say something?
Yeah, so I don't know how to, think about this, but it's sort of regarding free discussion but that's open to all of us as well as the public because of the Brown Act, but it may be not on the agenda. Is there a way that a commission can, not every single meeting, but maybe once every 2 or 3 months, that we come at 5 o'clock and we're open to, we're doing this, but it's brainstorming ideas that are not on the agenda that could go on an agenda. But we can't do that except if we're open to everyone. So I don't know if that's done,
Yeah.
but we don't have closed session as a possibility. Because
No.
It's not anything, there's nothing financial, there's nothing personal, it's just having ideas like meet and greets or whatever. We've tried to think about things, but we can't all of us talk at once. We can only talk a couple people or 3 people at the, because of the quorum thing.
But it's still going to be a quorum thing, and it's still going to
Yeah,
be.
but be open though. It would be.
But it would still have.
It would be
the
this.
city would still have to post it, and you would have.
Yeah,
we'd have to
open
have staff
discussion
there.
or something, town
If you have
hall.
if you have a quorum, it has to be noticed, right?
Yeah, it would be.
But can you have a workshop that the public's invited to, where you can talk about a number of different topics that may not be listed on the agenda for that meeting, but just be an open discussion where you're not taking any action?
Exactly, that's.
So,
Oh.
that's,
All 6 of us went.
We're having it right now, open discussion.
Well, it seems to me, if you say something like setting goals or priorities for the year, that is your heading, and you can talk about future items, which is what we did, but you're not digging into them and getting into them. You're saying, for example, Laurel, if you said, I would love to have this be a priority for us or to talk about it. If you get one other person, great, then it's in the future. It's a way to gauge there's interest, that's something you want to work on in the future. So you don't work on it right then, but you bring it up to work on in the future. You can have that under goals or whatever.
So what does that look like?
You could set a time and say, we're talking about goals for the year or future agenda items for the year. That's your heading. And you have, just like you did now, you have a future agenda item that you're proposing, but you restrain yourself from digging into the contents. But you can bring it up and say, we're going to talk about this at some future time.
Well, sometimes, like when people do the public comments, we can listen to what they have to say, but we can't respond. So can you have one where the public could get up and say, well,
Yeah.
why don't you guys do more about this and we can talk about it?
We just did that on Tuesday. So the tree ordinance workshop
I
was an
saw
example.
that.
So you can do it. You can set that format. And so we made it very clear we're not deciding anything tonight. And so you would figure out who's going to chair that, and that's your format to do that. I think you can definitely do it. But you're making it clear you're not setting any policy tonight. You're only taking feedback. So asking qualifying questions is great. Yeah, please.
Mayor, are you talking about a special meeting as opposed to putting that on an agenda for a regularly scheduled meeting?
So that was a special meeting because of the date, but it was something that the council had approved to have that workshop. And then we had set the date for the workshop agenda, publicized it and invited the public.
And so
Yeah.
in order to do it here and have it staffed, it would need to get council approval for it to be staffed because it's a special meeting.
Oh, I'm not sure about that. Because it seemed to me what you guys, what you did here with Bill, you can engage the public if you want to. I mean, that's a rule that in other words, it's at your discretion. But you can it seems to me if you say we are setting aside a big chunk of our meeting tonight for future agenda items and goals, and we want to engage the public, and you give them longer time, and you ask qualifying questions.
And so that would be on a regularly scheduled agenda.
That would be
Just
totally
put it
fine.
on one of these agendas.
Absolutely.
But it's not topic specific, it's a discussion about,
Yeah,
to come up with topics.
That's it.
Issues of interest
I think that
to the
totally makes sense.
public.
And and I'm gonna speak for myself, the thing you want to do right away is get into it, and you can't. That you would set aside so that everybody could come who wants to talk about getting into it. But you just set the stage for what you're gonna do. I think you can absolutely do that. And it'd be good.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
So can we put a discussion of how we want that to look on our May agenda? Okay. All right. The discussion. Well, because we don't really have time right now, so yeah, we got to do it some. It just sounds funny. Okay, and then.
Say one more word here.
Mhm.
What you might do too is you engage with Norma and say, how can you then publicize this in a different way? So you don't just say, oh, we're having our HPC meeting, but you get it on the social media page and all that, so you get it in there so people know, oh, I want to come and talk about this general thing about what we're going to be up to.
And same with a pop-up in the park, like maybe we can have a little social media with that. It's like, do you have a question for the HPC? They'll be at the park to answer your,
Yeah, or you can say, oh yeah, we'll take your ideas and you would bring it back here and see if there's interest. That's cool too. You probably do that every day.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, now, we have commissioner comments. I know that Brian and I have commissioner comments. Does anybody else? No? Okay, so at the last meeting, this was supposed to be an agenda item and it wasn't, so just bear with us. We got approval to go to council with the new award, the City Beautiful Award. The idea was we were going to come back at this meeting and figure out what we wanted to say and then read it to you and see if you had any problems with it before. So what we did was I wrote part of it, which is, will be read if you like it, if you have anything to change. And then Brian wrote the second part of it. So I'm going to read you. Tell me what you think. As you know, this HPC gives yearly and lifetime awards to individuals or groups who have proved themselves to be integral in protecting the history of Ojai. Our awards generally stay in the lane of historic preservation, even though sometimes it's not an exact fit. Like this year, we awarded local photographer Steve Adams. He didn't really do anything historic, but as commissioners and historians, we are well aware that photo documentation is crucial to the future of preservation, and Steve has graciously been there documenting every event. A future commission will be very grateful for the work of Steve Adams. That is just one of many examples of attempting to fit a round peg in a square hole of our preservation awards, which is why we are here. We have been working over the last several months to come up with a new award, something that still speaks to the importance of Ojai history, but something new and different for things that don't fit exactly within those perimeters of a historic building or a person working on a historic building. So we kept circling back to the core principles, followed by Edward Drummond Libby and the City Beautiful movement that was the inspiration for Ojai's downtown. Yearly, we find people or events that keep the spirit of Libby's vision alive. Some might be cultural, like the Music Festival or Bart's Books, or architectural, like the El Roblar, that embodied all we hope for our city. City Beautiful is based on principles of civic pride, of understanding the importance of lifting up your community, bettering your environment, caring and celebrating its rich history, and through that, encouraging others to step up as well. So we come to you tonight to ask that we add a new award that celebrates City Beautiful principles in Edward D. Libby's Gift to the City Beautiful Edward Drummond Libby Award of Excellence, to acknowledge and celebrate unique contributions that keep our Ojai. And then Brian's going to talk about the support we have of it. Brian?
Okay. Keep in mind, and I talked to the mayor, he has a brown bag on the first Monday of each month, so I talked to him a little bit about this. I asked him if we came to the council with commissioner report, which is right pretty much at the beginning time frame, and his comment was, well, usually I give 10 minutes because I want to know what they have to say, to which I said, we ain't going to talk 10 minutes. So this is kind of the second half of this was done a little bit independently because we had holidays and different family needs that have kept us separate. So, but I did measure it in time, 3 minutes and 3 seconds. Thank you, Chair McCatton, for setting a beautiful landscape for this Ojai City Beautiful Award. We decided, being in the century plus a few years range of our City Beautiful's founding, to go back to that special time, to the man himself, Edward Drummond Libby. As Commissioner Walker has pointed out, Libby's goals were far-reaching with civic duty, order, well-being, unity, civic pride, grandeur, art and architecture, and a center where people come together, thus bringing our city more and more beautiful. Our far-reaching goal is to extend beyond historic recognition by identifying key components of our suggested Ojai City Beautiful architecture. In doing so, we have identified certain segments in our community that may contribute to our city's past, current, and future beauty. To begin, we need a basis of our own history, as well as finding other nearby locales who are finding success, recognition in their own realms. To assist us, we asked, what I did was I identified people and then what they might focus on. To begin, to assist us, we asked our own commissioner and historian Craig Walker to help keep us on track, informed, and pull in examples from other successful communities such as nearby Santa Barbara. As our second strengthening beam, in no particular order, we have reached out to Julie Tumamite-Stensley. As Julie and I discussed, other than the fine Ojai Valley Museum, there's little to no other place a resident or visitor can be introduced to the Chumash peoples of the ceded land of our town site. Kind of goes along with what Craig said earlier. As a suggestion of possible award, perhaps a bronze plaque at the entrance to Libby Park seems like an appropriate location for sharing a message of the Chumash lands and communities located within the city of Ojai and its surroundings. Mark Tovar, a master storyteller, shares the history and heritage of the early of the city of Ojai and its valley with its land grant properties, ranches, vaqueros, stories of the historic paths and trails, some of which exist to this day, where others lay buried under a state highway, such as the Catholic chapel used by residents decades ago that lays just beyond the boundaries of the Ojai Valley. Perhaps another informative plaque in the Libby Park entrance. With Libby's love of architecture and the recent beautiful architectural upgrade provided by the historic Hotel Roblar, we asked well-known, highly recognized City of Ojai resident architect Fred Fisher if he would be our guide in reviewing and bringing forth guidance to our commission on our beautiful downtown structures. Another key area of current and future influence is education. Our many school buildings have their own stories lasting since Ojai's earliest school, now the Lavender Inn, a City of Ojai landmark, number 14, Nordhoff School. However, education is much more than buildings. It is teachers, the students, programs, newly introduced methods, and so very much more. With Gina McHatton's involvement, happened to be talking to her on the phone at this time. With Gina McHatton's involvement in a variety of schools and with her children, she has been asked to help on education right now. And that brings us to our other ask. Wendy Barker, Executive Director, Ojai Valley Museum, keeper of our beautiful vault of so much of the history of the Ojai Valley experiences and stories. Great exhibits that inform us, educate us, and volumes of information available. And then to the council, we ask that this be further addressed in discussion in a future council meeting. Thank you. So I was trying to, and I've mentioned these individuals before. What do they know? What do they focus on? What could they tell us that would help us bring? And again, you know, Craig in his comments identified the fact that in the Ojai Valley, if you want to go find out about the Chumash, you better go to the museum, because if you don't go to the museum, you're not going to find out anything. You know, and I talked to Julie about this, and she's about to give a talk talking about locations. And anything we identified would not be specific. Again, it would be communities, villages that are in the Ojai Valley.
So Brian, when we went and looked at my old house property, that area, as I think I talked to you guys about, was a Chumash kitchen, which we think that's what it was, that big. And Kathy Nolan didn't know that that huge stone in the Rose Garden area is a grinding stone from the Chumash, which is this tall.
Wow.
It's big. You know where the roses are?
Mm-hmm.
That circular thing which they were trying to make into a fountain, the
Mm-hmm.
previous people. That's an actual Chumash grinding stone. So that's a very significant piece of the Chumash history. I don't know if they know that about Foothill.
I don't know, but
anyway.
I'll bring it up.
Yeah, you should.
Thank you.
Anybody change about it, or do you have any questions, or do you think it's ready to go to council?
So is there something we're gonna vote on?
No, we just wanted to, we already voted on it. If you look at because we were looking at the minutes, and it said that all of you agreed that it was at the point where it could go to council. And then we were gonna write something, and so that's where we're at now, is writing something, so you guys could all weigh in on if you felt it was tight enough and ready.
I'm not sure, I must have missed that, because I didn't really see I don't really understand what the award is that's going out and who's gonna be deciding, and
Well, we don't know, I mean, that's,
I don't.
I think we
I mean,
wanna know.
I'd like to get these documents sent to me that you read, so I could look at those.
The ones that we just read now?
Yeah,
Sure.
but I don't know, did I just miss out on it?
Right.
So let me address that. So there's a lot of work that's gone into this, even to this point. And I originally sent an email out. I put it as a teaser to these individuals to send me something back. And I said, this is just a general, give me a short story, because I don't want to take people's valuable time and then take it before the council. I want to take what will help them understand, give them a preview of what we could bring, and then go back and put it, as the mayor suggested, put a package together and give it to, I think, our city manager so that they can include it in a discussion item for the city council. Now, will there be things ironed out between now and then? Yes, because, you know, we don't want it tomorrow. We want it, you know, sometime in the next month.
And when you ask for something to go on council, it doesn't happen the next day.
No.
This is the motion. Chair McHatton moved and Commissioner Sims seconded the motion to create a 3-minute presentation to take to City Council recommending they approve a new HPC award named City Beautiful Award Edward Drummond Libby. The motion passed. Everybody was a yay, except absent was Kate.
Yeah, I still don't understand like what the award is and who decides who gets it, and I'm just a lot of gaps for me. I'm sorry if I voted for something that I didn't really understand.
Well, we can definitely bring it back to the May meeting and work on the logistics of, because if council asks us how it would be awarded and who would choose, we really don't have those answers. So I don't have a problem at all thinking it would be a good idea to hash that out at the next meeting.
But we would before we went to the council.
Yeah.
But like we were talking about maybe having 3 commissions be part of it, the Arts Commission, the HPC, the Planning Commission, that they would all contribute, and that there might be a panel that would discuss nominees that the public made. I mean, we still don't know the whole basis of it. I mean, I understand. I mean, I helped create
Yeah,
some of this.
I hear what you're saying,
So-
but
But I hate to go to the council and say, will you approve this? And I don't even know what I'm asking them to.
So can we put it on the May agenda to
Yes.
discuss how it would look and who would choose it and, you know, the policy of it and.
Yes, so I think that this goes back to something that the mayor said a few minutes ago, which is that, like, tonight or right now is not the time to go into the details, because that's not what's on the agenda. However, if there are 2 people on the commission that want to put this on the agenda, which it sounds like there are, put it on the next agenda and then really get into the details about it. And perhaps you can decide this evening who's going to be submitting some information to staff to get into your agenda or your packet, so you can all have something to review. Like, who's going to prepare something to review, or it's just on the agenda for you guys to talk about and hash out all these details. Period.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see more of a hash out. I'd like to hear from all 7 of us and how we would like to see it. I think that would be a good way.
And also not just how you want to see it, but it sounds like Commissioner Walker just brought something up from a previous meeting or meetings, which is that other commissions are supposed to be involved in this and they haven't been contacted yet, or have they?
That hasn't, so let me go from here. So
Well,
at the first.
Okay, I just want to be careful that we're not getting into too much, but go ahead.
Okay, no, I'm just, so at the first meeting where I proposed this, I put a package together and it said, these are questions that we should be looking at and that we should answer. That was 3 months ago. I've heard nothing back. We haven't taken the time. I haven't taken the time to talk about that and maybe the details that some want, because we haven't got approval from the council to use staff time to go forward on that. So yes, there are questions, they're listed, and that first package was also included in the second package at my request.
So one of the things that we clarified through the ad hoc and through our joint council meeting is we don't need council approval to hash out our ideas. We need, because we have to have the freedom to be able to decide what we want to discuss and bring forward based on our consensus and, you know, here. So I don't think we need to go to council to ask them if we can work on it. I think we need to work on it so when council has questions for us, we know how to answer them. Because if we don't know how to answer them, then that's not good.
That was never an issue. And the mayor will tell you I never go to council meetings without being fully prepared. But again, there are steps that have to be taken, and I'm not real big in this commission on doing all of this effort only to be told 5 minutes before the meeting starts that you're not going to talk about that. Just so what I'm trying to do, again, I put that initial package out. So if you go back and look at the initial package, you'll see lots of questions on that, on where we go. And it talks, I said, what commissions do we do? That's up to us to when we go to the council to say, and these are the things that we decided.
So I would like to make sure that it goes onto the May agenda to have a full discussion of what we understand it to be, and we discuss it. Yeah.
I would suggest then that people look at those documents that I've twice submitted to the commission and review those questions and come prepared.
Well, I think,
Lorenz, on your list.
I just think that a whole lot's being made out of this when it's so simple. It's so simple. You have an award that you want to give, and you need, I don't know why all these other people are involved in all of this. I think that the Arts Commission and some of these others should have some input. I don't necessarily think that it should be an HPC award. I think it should be a citywide award that's given, because it doesn't just pertain to historic preservation, but I think it can be very simple in less than a page to document what it is we're wanting to give to people, places,
This
or
part of,
things.
and this part of the conversation is perfect for the May agenda.
Yeah.
Okay,
Getting
good.
into the weeds like this.
Okay.
Okay,
let's put it on the
perfect.
agenda.
Perfect.
Okay, and I don't have anything else. Anybody have anything else? Do we have the mayor? Which is, I mean, I know that you're not officially our liaison, but you're.
I would say possibly for May, if your budget's gonna be a reflection of the current budget, not a big deal. If you wanna change your budget, I would suggest you do that in May, that you're prepared to bring it, because I know that the Budget Review Committee is gonna try to look at something preliminarily in May. It does come to we basically have to adopt it in July, but it's the end of June is the end of the fiscal time, so if you can do it in May, I would suggest that.
So do you think if we take what was suggested and
Mhm.
then we figure out how much it would cost, and then we send that to Maura, and then Maura brings that back to our May meeting, and
That would be good. And even if it was, even at the Budget Review Committee, if we said, that's not binding, we would just look at it and say, oh, this is what it was last year, here's what's being proposed, then that would give that committee some juggling room to say, oh, great, we get it, and it would go to the council then in June. That'd be useful.
okay.
And I was just gonna say the property tax the percentage that goes to the city is so slight.
Right.
That really anybody going to the Mills Act would not be a problem at all. So that's just never a consideration.
And can't you get some of that money back? That's my understanding.
But even culturally, I think it's so interesting to proceed. It's really kind of almost moot, but it's slight. Now, the property tax that goes to the school district, that's a different story. A much higher percentage of property tax goes there, just so you know.
Thank you.
Anyway, it's fun to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
So I think it's been on previous agendas. It did not make it onto this one, but this is good for just staff information. I think I'm on the agenda for that somewhere. Everyone is getting an email, and you've already been notified that, I believe, and I'm going to hand out,
We're getting an email address.
sorry, you're getting an email address. And I'm going to hand out individual emails to every one of you, and it's this thick because there are instructions on what to do when you get home and get on your computer. And there are pictures and everything, step by step, and if you have any questions, you will contact City IT, and I'll help you get there.
Thank you
So-
very, very much. I
Have-
appreciate
If you
it.
have any questions, call, and I will give you a phone number. I won't help you, I'll give you a phone number. But that's how I'll help you, by giving you a phone number. And that's it for this evening. I'll be handing these out to you. Each one is individually customized.
No, not yet.
I'm waiting for more to get, are we done?
Cheers. So I move that we adjourn.